Welcome to the Saturday Sports Line. Since 1969, the premier sports show about local high school sports, featuring coaches, players, and special guests. Now, here is your host of the Saturday Sports Line, Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI Sports Director, Mitch Columbi, and sports analyst, Chris McGowan.
And a good Saturday morning to you here on the Saturday Sports Line, the longest running high school sports show in Indiana on this holiday 1-hour special edition. We're so glad to be here for you this morning. I'm Mitch Columbi as the tradition continues. We look around our area and see a lot of basketball being played. The boys' teams got in gear this past week as the girls' teams are already a couple of weeks in. We look at the Winnemac Warriors. Of course, we heard from head coach Tony Stesiak last Saturday. They were preparing for that game against Manchester. Of course, Coach Stesiak said on the Saturday Sports Line they have a very young team right now in Winnemac as they continue the struggles. Last Saturday, losing 39-42, a close one at home against Manchester, only their second home game of the season. They stay home for tonight. They take on Rochester, their third home game of the year. Tip-off is slated for 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We wish the Winnemac Lady Warriors good luck tonight and hope they get that first win of the season. We look at the Culver Lady Cavaliers, and right now things are a little bit of a struggle. Last Saturday against Pioneer, a tough loss, 49-62. Then against Argus on the 22nd last Tuesday, 26-29. Man, that's a heartbreaking loss. The Cavs right now are sitting at 3-5. Looking at some of our area boys teams, the South Central Satellites of Union Mills opened up their season Tuesday night at Wheeler, coming away with a big-time win. 49-48 was the final. They don't see action again until the 30th here in 3 days at home for their first home game of the year against Hobart. The Tri-Township Tigers opened up their season the night before Thanksgiving at home against River Forest, and it was a tough loss. I have reported from Chris McGowan, the girls' head coach, the final score of the boys' game was 52-16. Boy, a tough loss for the Tigers. We hope they are able to turn things around. Of course, they don't see action again until December 2nd. That's at home again versus Westville. Finally, the West Central Trojans boys basketball team opened up their season at Oregon Davis. It was a tough loss as the final score was 60-64. The Bobcats open up their season with a big win, but the Trojans are 0-1. Their next game is tonight at Victory Christian, 6:30 p.m. Eastern is the tip-off time. We now look at our WKVI game of the week. Of course, it was the night before Thanksgiving. The North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays came to Knox to face the Lady Redskins as the Lady Blue Jays came away with a tight win. Final score was 26-29. We were there for that game. Coach Terry Minix, along with myself, it was mostly Knox in control the whole game, but that final quarter belonged to Sophia Frazier, as she was named our Ashley Derrickson 5-star player of the game. She scored 8 quick points that gave the lead to the North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays, and that game came down to a last-second shot attempt by the Knox Redskins. It was Portland Minix with the half-court shot, and it just was no good. As the Redskins fought valiantly all night long, the Lady Jays came away with the win in the end in that historic cross-county rivalry. The Jays take the court tonight at home against Benton Central. 6:30 p.m. Central is the start time. The Knox Lady Redskins travel to Kankakee Valley this afternoon. That tip-off is slated for 1:30 p.m. Central. So while we are talking about both teams, let's go ahead and bring in our interviews from this past Wednesday. I had a chance to talk with head coach of the North Judson-San Pierre Lady Blue Jays, Bayley Goodman. Here's what she had to say after that big win on Thanksgiving Eve. All right, I'm here with head coach of the North Judson-San Pierre Lady Blue Jays, Bayley Goodman, coming off that big win tonight, 29-26. What'd you tell your girls in the locker room after that game, Coach?
A win's a win, whether it's ugly or pretty. We really wanted it to be a pretty win, but we came out with a dub still, so it's always good to get a good win over Knox, as ugly as it was.
Well, you look at Sophia Frazier. Boy, she turned it on in the fourth quarter. Talk about her leadership ability there on the court tonight.
Yeah, she really stepped up as a leader. You know, that's that senior leadership, the experience she has at the varsity level. Talking in timeouts, talking on the floor. She's kind of an extension of me on the floor, and it was really good. She kept her team under control, told them what exactly needed to be done in the tight situation like that, and I really think it helped lead us to a win.
Who else on this team were you really proud of tonight?
I'm proud of all of us. Morgan really stepped up and muscled up in the second quarter. She got some nice, good layups, got an and one. Olivia Burkett handled the ball well. She got a couple fouls, handling the ball strong, which ended up getting us into the bonus. And then Reagan Hensley hitting those 2 threes in the first quarter.
Whew. Big time. Well, and then talk about that tough third quarter. We were talking on the broadcast how you guys were getting the ball where you wanted it. It just couldn't get points on the board. That's tough as a coach, not getting points on the board in a quarter. Tell me how frustrating that must have been for you. What were you telling your girls at the fourth quarter break?
It is frustrating, especially early in the game. We had a lot of open shots. I felt like in the first quarter that weren't really falling. Third quarter, their defense was a little tighter on us, and the shots still weren't falling. I just tell them that we have to keep shooting. The ball eventually will have to fall into the basket. And luckily for us, the last 2 minutes of the game, the ball finally started to fall in.
Well, congratulations on a big-time win on the eve of Thanksgiving in this historic rivalry between the North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays and the Knox Redskins. You must be very happy. So happy Thanksgiving to you, Coach. Thanks for the time, and we appreciate your time as always.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
We turn now and hear what head coach Neill Minix had to say after that game on Wednesday night. Tough loss for them, but here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I told them I was very proud of their effort. I thought they did a nice job with the game plan that we put in place, and a couple of them got some minutes where they didn't get many reps of that game plan because we were expecting a couple other with us. And anyway, they did a nice job defensively. I'll take that effort defensively all the time. We just got to offensively look to attack a little more, and I thought we did a good job at times, but then we went away from that. But a bounce here or there could have went a different way. And but like I said, very, very proud of our girls.
That third quarter obviously was probably the best defensive quarter of the night by any team. You didn't allow any points. Right. Talk about the defensive effort from your girls. Yeah,
that's what we told them at halftime, and they kept trying to run this little stack where they try to get the ball inside to their post player. Hensley or Sophie in the corner for a three. So at halftime we drew it up on the board and showed where to go, and I think they turned it over 2 or 3 times in a row. So they executed perfectly of what we told them was going to happen and what to do. And that third quarter, just the energy, and then with the just. I know, and not having players, like you said, it not only not them being here is a factor, it's also a factor that some of them had to play more minutes, and so we couldn't get them a break.
Sure.
And, I think they got a little tired late because there was a couple decisions that we made that we weren't making early. And, I tell them that all the time. That's why we condition a lot, get in good shape, because when you get tired, you start doing things you don't normally do. And we did that a couple times. But overall, Riley Messer, I thought, played great. She's had a couple of really good games. Yeah, she's playing very patient, letting the game come to her, which is great, and that just makes us so much better. And then we got great minutes from Rylan Jordan off the bench, a freshman. She came in, hit some big shots. I think she scored about 7 points in about a 2-minute span, if that. So she did a great job, and she was aggressive. I thought rebounding overall was one of our better games. That you saw girls at least trying to make a conscious effort of boxing out, and we've really been working on that. And then just, defensively, Cadence Qualls and Ella Fairchild did a real good job. And then I thought, Portland Minix didn't shoot the ball particularly well tonight, but I thought she did a nice job handling the ball and running our offense and getting the ball to Riley where she needed to in space, and did a lot of good things. So, a total team effort. They, like I said, very proud, and I told them at the end of the game, the score, of course, we want to win this game, but we want to continue to improve, and I want to see great effort, and I thought they did that, and, it stinks we lost, but I was very proud of their effort.
Well, head coach Terry Minix told me you guys were cousins down the line somehow, but he said that there was nothing to hang your heads over on this loss because you controlled the ball game, he said, for most of the game. It just came back to those last few possessions where Sophia Frazier just turned on the Jets. You've got to be very happy, Coach. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to move forward and take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. West Central Trojan girls basketball player Annika Smith Our Athlete of the Week segment interview is up next. You won't want to miss that. You're listening to the Thanksgiving 1-hour edition of the Saturday Sports Line, the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana. You're listening to Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
The Stark County Co-op has been a member-owned farm services co-op in Stark County since 1928. That's over 90 years, and they're still providing the same quality agronomy services to the farming community of Stark and surrounding counties. The Stark County Co-op is an LP and fuel provider. The Stark County Co-op purchases grain at both locations, Hamlet and Browns. You can reach them by phone at 1-800-782-3392, the Stark County Co-op.
This presentation of our area's local high school sports is sponsored by Pulaski Memorial Hospital in Winamac. Pulaski Memorial Hospital is dedicated to providing excellent health care to improve the health and quality of life for the people and the community they serve. They will meet the community's needs and exceed their expectations by creating the best possible health care experience. For more information of the services they provide, call 946-2100.
You're listening to Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
And we're back here on the Saturday Sports Line, longest-running high school sports show in Indiana. I am Mitch Columbi, and we are so glad to be talking about our Athlete of the Week, Annika Smith of West Central. She recorded 13 points and 27 rebounds on November 8th. Yes, I said that correctly. 27 rebounds. It was a double-double performance for her, and we had a chance to catch up and talk about that game as well as the rest of the team at West Central. Here's my sit-down interview with junior Lady Trojan, Annika Smith.
All right, Annika, talk about this season, the Trojans as a whole. What are your goals going into this season to start out?
My goals are just to help my team as much as I can to get some wins and just kind of contribute and help my teammates get better as a whole and help the underclassmen who are coming up so that we can continue to be a good program throughout.
So talk about some of your teammates on this team. Who do you look for that you really admire on this team?
Mara Sharp has been my closest friend for a really long time, so me and her have some really good chemistry when we're on the court. We always kind of know where we are, and we always are looking for each other. Kaylee Bishop, she's a sophomore. She's also really, really good. She's a great shooter. I'm always looking for her when I get the ball down low to kick out and for her to hit some threes. Brooklyn Mellon, she's another junior. She's a really important aspect of our team, and she's a great leader, and she's always making sure we're in the right places, doing the right things at all the right times.
We're going to see you guys very shortly here at your Oregon-Davis game on December 1st. Do you know anything about Oregon-Davis? You know, they're a young team as well. You're going to be going into the Bobcat Den. Have you played there before?
I played there in middle school, but I haven't been back there since. We're hoping to get a win this year because we fell short during sectionals, so we're just really hoping to come back and get that win.
Talk about this coaching staff.
I love our coaches. Tyson he's great. He really understands all of us and is always looking for us to do our best. And Mandy Bishop, she's awesome. She's always there for us. And Jeremy Glassford, he's great. I love him too.
Well, let's talk about the big game, 27 rebounds. Of course, you had, 13 points, I think, so a double-double. Essentially, but the 27 rebounds really stands out in a lot of people's minds. Jeff Messer, the athletic director, had told me that they believe this is a record that now stands here at West Central. You broke a record that stood since 1995. And why do you laugh at that? I was alive back then, but it wasn't that far long ago. But talk about breaking that record. Did you know that game at a certain point you were just in a zone of some sort? I mean, how do you get 27 rebounds?
Going into the game, Tyson told us that we needed to win the boards, so I was kind of really focusing on that. And about halfway through the game, people were like, "You are really getting some rebounds," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I am." And so I just continued to think about getting boards, and after the game, when I saw how many I'd actually gotten, I was like, wow.
When did you find out that it was in fact a record that you had broken?
The next day, we were talking about it, and a bunch of my teammates were talking about how that 100% was a record, and I didn't even realize it, but...
Wow. So how does that make you feel? Do you like the limelight like that, or is that just kind of not your thing?
I don't really like being the center of attention. I kind of like to stay low.
Under the radar.
Yeah, under the radar.
But you have this intensity and this effort about you, so you must enjoy basketball. What is it about this sport that you really enjoy?
I just love being with my teammates, and like the adrenaline of being in a game is just like it's awesome.
So you guys have had a tough start for the season, but overall, what do you think this team has in them going forward?
I think we're really starting to come together and get warmed up to each other. So I'm hoping that our next couple games we're going to be really intense and play our hearts out and hopefully get some wins.
Is there anyone else on this team that really stands out to you that maybe you admire, maybe in practice, who doesn't get a lot of playing time but really helps out in practices and stuff?
All of our freshmen they're great. They always are working their butts off in practice, and they're really like big aspects of this team. And even though they're not on the court as much as some of the other people are, but during practice they're working their hearts out.
What are your parents' names?
Micah Warner and Ryan Smith.
What would be a message to your parents today?
I just want to thank them for driving me everywhere and putting in all the time and money for all of my sports that I play.
What's your message to Trojan Nation right now? If they're big fans out there of the girls basketball team, what's your message to the cheer block here?
Thanks for coming and supporting us, and I'd hope to see that you guys continue to come and support, and we'll get you some wins.
Well, Annika, I appreciate your time. Thank you for getting out of class real quick so we can get this interview. Congratulations on being named our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Big time thank you to Annika Smith as well as the athletic director Jeff Messer for helping me set up this interview. I got a chance to talk to her last Tuesday. Of course, a short week as it was Thanksgiving. We wish Annika Smith and her family a happy holidays, and congratulations on being named our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week. We're going to take a break and come right back. We're going to talk with head coach Tyson Mellon of the West Central Trojans, see what he has to say for the start of the season. It's been tough for him, but they've got a couple of games coming up on the schedule that could be an opportunity for them to strike. Don't go anywhere. More to come here on the Saturday Sports Line. You're listening to Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
Something dark that I like, but I can't quite put my pinky on it. Got a good appetite for a bad reputation, but I don't want to be just another one of yours.
Since 1936, Standard Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning have always taken pride in doing the job right. Third-generation owner Brian Hammond and his family have always set the standard when it comes to taking care of all your heating and cooling needs. Making your home a comfortable home is the absolute top priority. If you are uncomfortable in your home, give them a call at 574-936-4660. Follow them on Facebook. Let Standard Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning help you take control of your comfort.
Welcome to Marian University's newest location, Ancilla College of Marian University. Marian's newest campus location in Plymouth is your home for an on-campus college experience. From living in the dorms to being a collegiate student-athlete, Marian University is ranked third most innovative Midwest university by U.S. News & World Report. For more information about our 2- or 4-year degrees, go to www.marian.edu/Ancilla. That's www.marian.edu/Ancilla.
The Stark County Co-op has been a member-owned farm services co-op in Stark County since 1928. That's over 90 years, and they're still providing the same quality agronomy services to the farming community of Stark and surrounding counties. The Stark County Co-op is an LP and fuel provider. The Stark County Co-op purchases grain at both locations, Hamlet and Brems. You can reach them by phone at 1-800-782-3392.
Let's continue the conversation with area high school coaches and more on the Saturday Sports Line.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Line, the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana. It's time to talk the West Central Trojans lady basketball team. I have with us head coach Tyson Mellon in his 4th year at West Central. Coach, good morning. How are you today?
Great. Good to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, first starters, we haven't had a chance to catch up on some Trojan basketball. Tell us overall how this Lady Trojan team's looking to start out the year.
Well, we're competitive. We've got some girls coming out who haven't played before, so we're able to make a JV team, and that's been the first time in probably 5 or 6 years. So that's been a change for us. We're kind of not used to that, but we got 3 juniors, 2 sophomores, and some freshmen that came up from the 8th grade class, and we're just trying to compete. So.
Yeah, no, and I was about to ask you, what's the competition like on this team? Was the starting 5 kind of hard to nail down for you?
I mean, we had basically the same group last year. They were just sophomores and freshmen, so now they're a year older, a little more savvy, I guess, know what to expect as far as a varsity basketball game goes. So yeah, it's a good. We're building. I mean, it's a good transition.
Yeah.
I mean, we were so young last year. Now we're a year older, a year wiser. So it's the start of the season this year was much different than the start of the season last year. So.
Yeah, sure. And talk about your coaching staff. Who do you have with you down there at West Central this year?
Mandy Bishop, she's been with us for a couple of years now, and she's the varsity assistant. And then Jeremy Glassford has been with us as well. He's the JV coach this year. So kind of the group has stayed together the last 4 years. So we got a good relationship there.
Sure, and I'm looking at the schedule, not the way you wanted it to start, but you're taking on a Winamac team this Tuesday. They're struggling as well right now. What do you know about your cross-county rival in the Winamac Warriors, Coach?
I know they have a new coach. They graduated a lot of players from last year, so it'll be interesting to see. We're kind of maybe both in the same boat. They might have a senior or two. I have to look at their roster, but a lot of juniors and sophomores, and I know there's a freshman, Candace Croft. She's playing varsity, so we're kind of. They might be a little taller, but other than that, I think we might match up pretty well.
Tell me your practice schedule throughout Thanksgiving. Were you able to get with your girls throughout Thanksgiving week, or how'd your practice schedule look like?
Yeah, we're going to take Thursday off, but we'll practice in the mornings the rest of the week. So, yeah, with the game on Tuesday, you couldn't take much time off. So.
No, not at all. And you're getting prepared to play a team that's struggling in Winamac, so maybe an opportunity for you guys to turn around things. 0-4, not the way you want it to start, but, our athlete of the week, Annika Smith, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, your athletic director, Jeff Messer, had mentioned to me that he believes she broke the in-game record for most rebounds in 27. Is that correct?
Right.
My gosh.
I've got stats up to like 2005. And then there's a pretty big gap. But then starting back up in 2013, we've got in-game stats for 2013 on. So it just depends what happened in that span where there's, I don't have much information. But
sure.
27 rebounds. It doesn't matter if that's a school record or not. That is a lot of rebounds. So.
We'll speak about her leadership on this team. Especially this day and age, it's kind of hard to tell kids to get on the boards. What is it? What is it about her that she's able to be coachable in that respect?
Yeah, she just has a knack, a nose for the ball. She's only like 5'6", so she's a quick jumper. But yeah, she just goes finds it. She's not the most vocal kid on the floor as far as a leadership standpoint, but she gives us great effort. Basketball's not her favorite sport, so she's a great softball player as well. And so yeah, we're just thankful she's part of our team.
Talk about some other players on this team, maybe someone that surprised you here early on in the season.
Well, Kaylee Bishop, we played Rensselaer the first game of the season. That's always a tough one for us, but she came out and had 20 points plus. She's our main ball handler at times, and I thought that was wow. She picked up right where she left off last season, but since then, she kind of struggled from the field a little bit. We're not very deep, so she doesn't come out of the game very much. But we're trying to get in shape. She's banged up her knee a little bit, sore knee, and but she's one we're relying on.
Yeah.
We got Mara Sharp. She's a junior. She's our other main ball handler. She's our spark plug. She is feisty on defense, and she keeps us going. Brooklyn Mellon's another junior. She's really worked on her shot over the last couple of summers, and it seems to be paying off. She seems more comfortable shooting the three. Liza Allen's a sophomore. As a freshman, she got a ton of minutes, and that's really helped. That experience last year has really helped her this year. She hasn't quite found her groove from the field yet, but we know that's going to come. She has a nice form when she shoots, and we're just waiting for that breakout game from her. So,
yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with our listeners, getting a little idea of what's going on there at West Central. I just checked the schedule too. We are going to meet very soon here on December 1st, your game at Oregon Davis. We will be broadcasting that game, so I'm very excited. Oregon Davis is a young team as well. They're having some struggles this season, so you've got Winnemac and Oregon Davis, two teams both struggling. This could be a game for both of you guys to get an opportunity here. Speak about what your message might be to your girls in moments like this when you've got teams on the radar here that you have a good shot at beating.
Well, we just want to compete night in and night out. I tend to think if you focus too much on the wins and losses, then you're on that emotional roller coaster, where, man, we should have beat this team, or we could have beat this team, and we didn't. So now how do you bounce back? So, we just want to get better every time out. If we play hard, and are competitive, eventually good things will happen. Those wins will come. But, with Winnemac and Oregon Davis, I like, we can compete with them. So it's not like going over to Rensselaer or, we played Morgan Township the other night, and they're big and physical, and, we don't match up real well with them. So, it'll be a good week, hopefully.
Well, good. What's your message to West Central Trojan fans?
Well, just come out and support these young ladies. They put in time. They put in a ton of effort, and eventually it's going to pay off. So I know that we need to give them something to come and watch. So part of that's on us. But we're trying to promote these kids, and they're a great group of young ladies, and we just wish you'd come out and support them.
Last question for you, Coach. Was there a specific goal you had in mind for this season that you'd like to accomplish?
You kind of go through the schedule at the beginning of the season and pick the games that it's going to be really tough, and then you pick ones that you can compete in, and those are the ones you kind of circle and say, man, if we play our game, if we play the right way, good things can happen. So, we're not, looking at our, history a little bit, to be, 15-5 or something is kind of, that's kind of out of the question at this point. But if you can get, we won 5 or 6 games last year. If you can build on that and get to 8 or 9, that's kind of the direction we want to go. So that's always the goal to, play hard, compete against the teams that you match up well with, and, good things will happen.
Well, Coach, good luck against Winamac on Tuesday. I look forward to meeting you on December 1st at Oregon-Davis, and we hope by then we've talked about a couple of wins for you.
That sounds great.
All right,
appreciate you guys covering us.
Of course, that's head coach of the West Central Trojans, Tyson Mellon, here on the Saturday Sports Line. We're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. More to come. You're listening to Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
Since 1936, Standard Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning have always taken pride in doing the job right. Third-generation owner Brian Hammond and his family have always set the standard when it comes to taking care of all your heating and cooling needs. Making your home a comfortable home is the absolute top priority. If you are uncomfortable in your home, give them a call at 574-936-4660. Follow them on Facebook. Let Standard Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning help you take control of your comfort.
Real magic is everywhere. It's in your mom's cooking, in 4-hour dinners with friends, in that first bite of something new, and in the fizz of a Coca-Cola. Now with so many options for less than $5, the Coca-Cola Value Collection will help you make the most out of every magic moment for so much less. Taste the magic for less with Coca-Cola.
Here's more with area high school coaches as we return to the Saturday Sports Line from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital Studios on K99.3.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Line as we are continuing our holiday special. That's right, Thanksgiving was this past Wednesday. Sure hope you guys had a lot of food at your table, spent time with your family, and enjoyed yourselves. We're going to continue our talks with West Central as we don't get much time to get down to West Central. I had a chance to speak with Athletic Director Jeff Messer, and he wrapped up the fall season. Of course, a lot of sports happening down there at West Central during the fall. Cross country and football both did fantastic for the Trojans. And then we talk with Jeff Messer a little bit about what's to come this winter season in sports for the Trojans.
All right, so let's wrap up the fall here at West Central. Really amazing overall season for several of your teams. Let's go over it right off the bat. Let's start with cross country.
Coach Glassford does a really great job here, boys and girls, but the boys took 7 kids to regional. Didn't do so well when you get there, but when you get to the regional level, we're a 1A and you're going against Portage, Chesterton.
It's a different ball game.
Yeah, totally different ball game. But they did a nice job. Another great season, brought home a lot of medals and trophies, so, we like to show those off.
Well, and then the competition itself to get to regionals, I think it speaks volumes of the athletes you have here, not to mention student athletes at that. Speak about how the student and athlete, bridge works, how to keep the students good in the classroom, but also good out in the athletics.
Principal Radke and Assistant Principal Michelle Miller do a great job with that. We have a Catch-Up Cafe. If you're lacking a little bit, you're going to go spend your lunch hour in there catching up on homework, things like that. We also do a little bit of that at night after school. So it behooves them to get their work done so they don't miss practices.
So they can get to it.
Yeah.
So it's an incentive.
It's an incentive, and they do a really nice job with that.
Well, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the football team. I mean, head coach Mark Call, one of his best seasons, if not here at West Central. Very proud of him. talk about the football team as a whole for the season.
Great record. Surprised a lot of people. Did really well in the conference. As you know, we were conference champions. Ran through sectional until we ran into the buzzsaw over at Carroll. Everybody knows Carroll's reputation. Had a few ups and downs during the season. I'm not going to go into that, but Mark, it was a test.
Yeah.
It was a test, and they came through it with flying colors.
Mm-hmm.
We had people hurt, other issues. They worked through it. They persevered, and they won games. It was a lot of fun for me because I haven't been a football guy in a long time. So,
This
but it was a
season
lot of
turned
fun.
it around.
Yeah, they did. It was great. And I think they're going to do this next year, too.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's no reason we can't.
Well, and you can just feel the energy, especially that night we broadcasted the cross-county rival between Winamac and West Central. What a great night to take the Tomahawk Trophy for West Central. Of course, maybe the other part of the county might not appreciate this part of the interview here, but boy, what a great night for West Central. Speak on that. It took close to 10 years, or 2012, I think is what Mark had said that night. 10 years, a decade to bring that trophy back. I think that speaks volumes to your direction in, here at West Central, and then also as Mark Hall as well.
The trophy we had never seen before. The Tomahawk, it dates back to the early 60s.
Wow.
This group here has never seen it. To see that and hold it was really great. The seniors this year, I gave them all a little Tomahawk pin for their jacket.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was a very big deal here, especially for Mark. He's got a little sign in the locker room that says, "What have you done to beat Winamac today?" So, and the atmosphere that night was great. Our fans were great. Great night.
It was.
Yep.
It was, and we were so happy to be there for just the event aspect of it. What a great game. But overall, the West Central Trojans football team did an amazing job, as well as your cross-country runners. Congratulations as a whole here at West Central, but we look forward to, we talked with Annika Smith, who is our athlete of the week, of course. Talk about all sports going on here at West Central this winter.
Right now, the girls are struggling for wins, but that's okay. We have a JV for the first time in 7 years with the girls program. That's huge to us. That's huge. We have low numbers, but Coach Tyson is making it work.
Wow.
Okay. They've got Winamac coming up on Tuesday. That's Alliance Bank night where they're going to come in and we're going to have somebody come in and shoot some free throws and threes and things like that. It'll be a lot of fun. But like you said, Annika's doing great. There's some outstanding players on that team. No seniors.
Young.
We're very young. We're going to be strong and even stronger next year. And with the boys, they open up tonight at Oregon Davis, and high hopes. High hopes. We still only have 2 seniors, so we're young also. Middle school right now, they're about 2 games over 500. 6th grade's about 3 games over 500. 6th grade girls doing really well. I think they've only lost 1 game. 7th and 8th grade girls don't start till after the break, but that's where we're at right now. Wrestling's going to kick off on December 1st with a conference match against Frontier, and we'll see how that goes. The wrestling program here is very strong too.
Yeah, well, one thing that I'm going to have to pick up the encyclopedia book on. I know very little about wrestling, but I'm looking forward to getting into it and keeping up with the wrestling here in Pulaski County at West Central. I appreciate your time, and thank you so much for catching us up and letting us know what's going on here at West Central. A lot of younger kids getting a lot of experience, and it looks like the future is bright here at West Central.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate everything you guys do.
Huge thank you to Jeff Messer right there, one of the greats, a good athletic director. Make sure I get everything I need at the drop of a hat. We wish him and his family, as well as all of West Central, a happy holidays. We're going to take a break, but don't go anywhere. We have the Where Are They Now segment up next. That's with Harold Welter. You know him well. You're listening to Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
It's time now for Where Are They Now? A look back at more than a half century of WKVI radio covering local high school sports. Today's program is brought to you by Osborne's Mini Marts in Knox and Culver. Now let's meet one of the local high school sports figures from more than 50 years of WKVI sports and find out where are they now?
As we look back at more than a half century of broadcasting high school sports in the Kankakee Valley here on WKVI, our guest is John McKnight, who got his radio broadcasting career underway at WKVI, his first job back in the 70s, and he actually, while he served as the news director here, he actually also broadcast some ball games with me. And we talked with him last week about some of those early days, but we wanted to bring him back in because he's got a lot of stories to tell about success in the broadcasting industry. Who were some of the people that influenced your rise in the broadcast industry?
Well, that's a good question. I think a lot of it came from WKVI. I think the people who let me be me, who seemed to find in me some kind of talent and encouraged that. And that was you, Ted Hayes, and Elmo Smith, and Glenn Kay.
Yeah.
And those really helped me. And, I think back on it now. I left after a couple of years, and I brought several of my fellow employees up to South Bend with me. Bill Harvey and Dale Denny and Norm Stanglin, although Norm went to Fort Wayne first. But now I look back on it as the owner of the company and employer, and that was not a very nice thing to do to the station, to raid them of all those people. I didn't think of it then. But anyway, then I went to WSBT, and Wayne Doolittle helped me a lot. He taught me the ropes, and was always there to encourage me. And when the opening occurred on the TV side for the anchor job, by that time he was the news director, and he promoted me to that job. So Wayne played a major role in my career. And then I came to Atlanta, and there were some other people here who helped me. And one was a man named Jack Frazier, who wound up, after I worked at WSB, I went to what is now the NBC affiliate in Charlotte as the main anchor. And I wasn't happy then. I wanted to come back. And Jack Frazier hired me back in Atlanta. He had been the news director of the CBS station. Then he became the news director of a startup, WGNX-TV, which was a Tribune station owned by the Chicago Tribune, part of that group of stations. And he brought me back there to that startup, and I worked there for 11 years. And that was the end of my TV career when I think I'm going a little far afield from your question here. But he hired me for that. And so he influenced my career a lot. So there were a lot of people along the way. And I would also say, Harold, a lot of people outside the news business really had an impact on my life, people I'd met in the news. And people like Zell Miller, who was a governor of Georgia, who was just held up as a man who had a lot of courage and moved forward with what needed to be done. I met a lot of people being in Atlanta in the civil rights movement, like Andrew Young. Well, I knew Andrew Young for years, and John Lewis, and people like that, and Maynard Jackson, who was one of the first black mayor of Atlanta, one of the most interesting people I've ever met, and Jimmy Carter, and people like that. So I was very fortunate to have covered this path and met so many interesting and important people, and they all influenced me in one way or another, from WKVI right on through the end of my career. And also, after I left TV, the Tribune sold that station in Atlanta to Better Homes and Gardens Public Broadcasting Arm. And Better Homes and Gardens came in and cleared out all of the upper management and all of the high-profile on-air people, which was fine because by that time I was kind of burned out on it.
Yeah.
And that's when my wife and I decided to go into business and start Primrose. But there was about a year or so, it was right after 9/11, when the economy tanked and I had to go back to work. And I wound up working in radio again at the news radio station in Atlanta at WGST, doing news during the Rush Limbaugh show. So I was right there with Rush. I mean, he never knew me and I never knew him, but I was right there in Atlanta as part of his show.
Let me ask you this, John. You've had a lot of success for a guy who came out of Chicago with no background in broadcasting, and you rose to the top of that industry. What advice would you have for young people who were, like you were all those years ago, and had some dreams and so forth? But what advice do you give to young people who want to have the kind of success that you've had?
It's a different game now, and it's not just technologically, although that's part of it. The way we tell stories is so different. There's not a lot of storytelling anymore. The stories are more newsy, for instance. I'm trying to think of a good example. But when I was doing the news, we had a lot more time to develop stories. We had time to tell stories, and we had time to understand the role that video plays in a story. And this is something I learned, and not everybody learns. But the story is told in words and pictures. And in television, the story can tell itself. You don't have to give it a whole lot of help. And that's the kind of advice that I give to young people is don't put yourself into the story. You can be in the story, you can be the reporter, and you can look really good by telling the story in the right way. And you can look really bad by telling the story in a way, for instance, where you say this is a terrible tragedy. Well, if it's a fire and 6 people are killed, you don't have to say it's a terrible tragedy. Everybody knows it's a terrible tragedy. You don't have to say a fire truck is coming down the street when you could see a fire truck and the siren going on. So that's the kind of thing that and I won several awards for my reporting, and it wasn't journalistic necessarily. It was because the stories were told in such a way that the video could carry the story, and what the people are saying and what the people are doing and their reactions. And you don't see much of that anymore, especially in local TV news, where so much of it's all live. You're doing everything live, and it really takes time away from being able to develop a story. But you still have to be very careful to work with the video. I knew reporters who would go out and do a story and wouldn't even look at the video when they came back. They just write the story, and they would miss so many wonderful moments that would mean so much to the story. I'm trying to think of an example. I can't right offhand, but that's what I would tell people, and I would also tell them when you're meeting people who are in the news that you may or may not be interviewing. Everybody is interesting. This is one thing I really learned. Every single person on earth is an interesting person.
Everybody has a story.
Everybody has a story, and you may not, they may not think so, but and they may not even know what to say to you. But if you draw them out and you ask questions about them, eventually people want to talk about themselves, and they will if they feel comfortable and if they feel safe with you. And that's what I tell people to do. That's what I would tell someone who's thinking of getting into this business. That and the fact that this is a business where appearance counts, where performance counts. You need to develop your voice. You need to develop your delivery. You need to, if you're going to be on camera, you need to be careful about how you look on camera. Those are the kinds of things that I would tell people getting into it.
We're talking with John McKnight, former newscaster and sportscaster here on WKVI, and we'll be back with more here on our Where Are They Now segment after this timeout.
Need a game plan that has your day covered from tip-off to the buzzer? Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox has you covered. Whether you like to start out with a caffeinated full court press or control the tempo with a Subway breakfast flatbread, Osborne's Mini Mart has what you need. Don't get trapped in the corner with an empty stomach. Call a quick timeout and get 2 hot dogs for $1.29. Visit Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox at the corner of US 35 and Highway 8 East to guarantee you win the day.
We're talking with John McKnight, a former broadcaster/sportscaster here on WKVI from back in the 70s, who rose to the top of TV newscasting at Channel 2 in Atlanta. John, you had a lot of success in the radio and TV industry, and you overcame a lot of things and came from a background not rooted in communications, but just in general, you went from the bottom to the top in that profession. But just in general, what kind of advice would you give young people who have their own dreams, whether it is broadcasting or anything else, as these young people get ready for the future? What's the best advice you can give them?
The best advice would be, and I guess it sounds kind of old-fashioned, but just move forward. Keep going. There's going to be disappointments, there's going to be failures, and there's going to be rejection. Don't let those things impact you. Just keep pushing and keep pushing. And if you have a dream, know that that dream is attainable, probably. Not necessarily. But you're never going to attain it if you take your eye off the prize. That's what I would tell you. You know, failure is a part of all of it. And you may ultimately fail. In the end, it may not work. But you have to stick with it. There were so many people who told me I was crazy to get into radio in the first place. And as I went along, they weren't convinced. But eventually they were convinced. So I had a lot of discouragement, or people tried to discourage me. But this was something I had always wanted to do. I had a very high level of a desire. I knew what I wanted, and I was going to go get it. I think for young people, it's so easy to just go with the flow. Get a job, stay in that job, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. You might work a lot of years in that job. It may not be your thing, but you might make a good living, raise a family, and that sort of thing. But if you have a dream, follow it. Know that you're going to be rejected. Know that you're going to fail. Try to model your not to mimic people who have been successful, but model them in certain ways, because you're going to have to be yourself. Be yourself and follow your dream, and prepare for rejection and deal with it and keep going.
John, thanks so much for taking time and visiting with us and reminiscing with us about the old days here at WKVI and how you took your background here to the top of the broadcast industry. We appreciate that very, very much.
They were great days, Harold. I wanted so badly to be at the 50th anniversary, but the Lord had other plans again, so I'll be at the 100th anniversary.
Our guest has been John McKnight, a former broadcaster here at WKVI, who actually helped me broadcast some sports while he was here back in the 70s. And we want to invite you to join us again next week on the Saturday Sports Line for Where Are They Now?
Where Are They Now? A look back at more than a half century of high school sports coverage on WKVI has been brought to you by Osborne's Mini Marts in Knox and Culver.
Join us each Saturday morning on WKVI for the Saturday Sports Line and worldwide on WKVI.com.
Time now for our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, given in memory of Tyler Roth, a 2001 graduate of Winnemac High School who died in an auto accident 1 week after his high school graduation. His legacy of hard work, outstanding citizenship, artistic success, and super athletic performance lives on with this award, given every week to outstanding student athletes from the 8 schools in the Kankakee Valley. Today's award is brought to you by Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac, and we'll tell you who's earned the Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week after this word from Web Printing.
Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack and signs of all kinds in Winamac is where all of your printing needs can be met. Whether it's paper, garments, or signs, Web Printing is your full-service printing solution. So if you're in need of embroidered or screen-printed garments, tickets or programs for your event, or documents for your business, Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack is the place to go. For the quickest service, best prices, and best quality, it's Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac.
Our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week for this week is Myles McLaughlin, a member of the football team at Knox Community High School. Man, what's there to say about Myles? We knew this day was coming all along. His name was mentioned so many times throughout the football season, especially at our games and during the Saturday Sports Line. But for those of you who may have missed it, Myles had an amazing season for the Redskins. He broke the following school records this season. He achieved 26 rushing touchdowns, 27 total touchdowns, and total rushing yards in a single game with 308 yards. And we were there for that game. What an amazing achievement. We were so happy to be there for that. A very busy young man already making waves in his freshman year. Myles is the son of Josh and Suzanne McLaughlin and is also a member of the basketball, baseball, and track teams at Knox. Congratulations to Myles McLaughlin of Knox Community School Corporation, our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week. Myles will receive a certificate, a history of the award, and a t-shirt commemorating his achievement, and will also be a future guest on the Saturday Sports Line. He will be eligible for our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Year award later this spring, which carries with it a plaque and a college scholarship, compliments of WKVI and the family of Tyler Roth. The Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week is brought to you by Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac. I'll work on getting that most anticipated interview from Mr. McLaughlin this week, as that is going to do it for us here on this holiday 1-hour special of the Saturday Sports Line, the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana. We are not going anywhere. I am Mitch Columbi, wishing you and yours a very happy holiday season. Until next time, you enjoy the rest of your weekend. You're listening to Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI. The tradition continues.
From the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios of Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI, you've been listening to the Saturday Sports Line with Sports Director Mitch Columbi and Sports Analyst Chris McGowan.